Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Noah on Alyssa's channel. I'm Tom.
I'm Noah, and thank you all for joining us today. So obviously I am with Tom Q Public, or Tom's Hit Parade, however you know him by. He came to visit me here in Stillwater, so we decided let's do some videos. So first off, let me let you guys know there is a video that we did over on his channel if you want to see it. Link is in the description. He's at the top of my YouTube friends list. If you want to go check out that video, it's a ceremonial passing off of a series that I did on my channel, and we talk about bleachers. So definitely go check that out and watch that. But today on this channel, we are going to be talking about our 5 favorite albums of the mid-year. So just January through June. Anything after that is not counted. Let's go ahead and get started with it. I want to start with you. What's your 5th favorite of the year?
My number 5 is Greenfields, the Gibb Brothers Songbook Volume 1. It's by where Barry Gibb recruited a bunch of, that was the word I was looking for, recruited a bunch of country and folk and Americana musicians to cover songs that were made famous by the Bee Gees or that were written by Barry Gibb. It's just a fantastic album. Beyond the music itself, this album means a lot to me in other ways. Since inheriting my sister's music collection, I've steadily grown to appreciate 70s music in general and the hits of the Bee Gees in particular, as well as the genres of country and Americana. So that kind of made me enjoy this album in both of those respects. Not only does this album blend all those wonderfully, but I just know that my sister would have absolutely loved this album. So that makes it even more meaningful to me overall. So it's so much to the point, I think she would enjoy it so much to the point that I practically feel her presence whenever I listen to it. So To Love Somebody with Jay Buchanan is one of the standouts, as well as Too Much Heaven, which features Alison Krauss. And I've Got to Get a Message to You, which is the opening track featuring Keith Urban. Those are just a few of the highlights for me. But yes, the entire set is just excellent.
Well, as you will probably come to realize, probably we won't have a lot to say about each other's list because there's a lot that probably we didn't listen to of each other's list, and that is the case for this one. So I'm just going to jump ahead on into my 5th favorite album of the year. And I will say my list, for sure mine, I don't know about Tom's, is very up in the air. I spent a lot of time, really couldn't narrow it down, so some of these I just kind of threw in a place because I just did not know what to do or what order I wanted them in. Regardless, they are good albums. They're at least in my top 10 of the top of the year. So just that little preface. So my number 5 is Fire in Little Africa's debut album. This is something that is special to me specifically because it's based in Tulsa. It's a hip-hop collective based in Tulsa. They did a podcast and an album and a documentary series. You guys know Tucker's here. I won't apologize for it. And a documentary. And so all of these things came out, and they were all made for the centennial of the 1921 race massacre that happened in Tulsa. A truly tragic event, and it's something that doesn't get enough publicity at all. But this album really stood as a chance to not only bring up the conversation, but also to really celebrate Black excellence in Tulsa, Black prosperity, and it's a excellent album. It really is a really good album, and honestly, I think the only reason that this is... Okay, the only reason I don't think that this album's any higher is because it's a very long album. And honestly, I just haven't got a lot of chances to listen to it. I've listened to it through a couple times, but it's one that I definitely want to spend more time with. So I think that that's the reason why it's so low, just one that I haven't had quite enough time to sit with because it's a longer album. So that is my 5th place. What about your 4th place?
My number 4 is going to be Medicine at Midnight by the Foo Fighters. Now, I love the 80s influences and the more upbeat tone overall on this one. Making a Fire, the opening track, got me right away with its na-na-nas. I just love that. I love catchy music, what can I say? And I love the single Shame Shame, and it's actually what got me to pay attention to the Foo Fighters again. I heard it on the radio, didn't know what it was, I Shazammed it, and I realized it was the Foo Fighters. I enjoyed a lot of their singles from way back in the day, but just never really give him any attention and just took a deep dive, starting with this album, and it was great. I like the layered meaning to the lyrics in Waiting on a War. That's another standout. The closing track, Love Dies Young, ends the album with as strong an 80s nod as it began with. So yeah, a short album, but in a way that might be a good thing. Not that the album isn't great. It's just, shorter albums can be just as excellent as long ones, except, you just can't believe it's over already when it's over. So, but yeah, that's my number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is the newest album from Why Don't We? I really liked it. It's an album it's a simple like boy band pop album, but it's a good one. It's catchy for sure. Songs like Falling, Adrenaline, that is an excellent song. It does sample Kanye West's Skinheads, but it's a great album. It's really fun. There's a couple songs on it that aren't my favorites, but for the most part, just about every song on there I really enjoy. This is definitely my most simple pick. It's just fun. I just really enjoy it. It's one that I have put on a lot just because it's a easy listen, nice and fun. Nothing too heavy, as Fire in Little Africa obviously is a little heavier, as well as some of my later picks. So what about your third?
My number 3 is actually a very rare thing for my lists. It's one that I actually don't own physically yet. It is on the way to me in the mail, though. I loved it so much the first couple of times I streamed it. It is Nurture by Porter Robinson. And I just, when I heard, the opening song, for one thing, is just, if there was ever a song that completely personified the feel of the album cover, it's that opening song. It's just a gentle, sweet instrumental. And when you hear Look at the Sky, that's the second track, it sounds like you're in for just another EDM album. But after that, he just puts on so many different layers and textures and stuff. It's just a very interesting listen. Some things that I've never heard before in an album. So many moods and textures, as I said, many of which I've never heard before. Yay notes. I love the song Something Comforting, with the male and female vocals, the way that they cut back and forth between. That's one of the many things that I just had never heard before in music. It's a great, interesting new kind of thing I've heard. And the only thing keeping me from loving Blossom more than I do is that the vocals have an over-the-phone filter on them. So that kind of distracts. It's almost the phrase phoned in. It makes you think phoned in. I mean, it's a good song. It's just that vocal effect just doesn't do a whole lot for me. It would have been nicer with just a regular in the studio vocal. But otherwise, fantastic album. It's one that I know I'm going to listen to again and again. I liked it so much streaming it that I ordered the Japanese import edition that has one bonus track on it. So with any luck, it'll be there when I get home or very shortly thereafter. So yeah, that's my number 3. What is your runner-up?
I'm still on 3. Yeah. Well, I will, though Porter Robinson's is not on my list, it is currently in my top 10. And yes, it's an excellent album. I really like the song Musician. That's a song that I really liked.
I should have cited that one as much as I love songs like music.
But no, it is not in my top 5. Instead, my third place is Lucy Dacus's album, Home Video. Very much in the vein of Phoebe Bridgers, which you guys know how much I loved Phoebe Bridgers' album Punisher last year. Definitely one of my favorite albums of all time, let alone of last year. And so this is very similar. Lucy Dacus has been doing things just about as long as Phoebe Bridgers has, though. So that's not to say that she is a ripoff of Phoebe Bridgers by any means. Her vocals are very powerful. She has a really nice balance. Not quite as wispy as Phoebe Bridgers is, much more powerful. And overall, just a really excellent album. It's one that deals a lot with a lot of personal storytelling, talking about her childhood, and she talks about her sexuality on it, and overall the album has a lot of really standout moments. VBS, a great song about young love, and especially how that can conflict, how some young love can conflict with religious ideologies, and Overall, it's just an excellent album. And Thumbs, if anyone has listened to Thumbs, you know what I'm talking about. But a song about murdering your friend's father is just as heavy as it sounds, and it's a gut punch. So absolutely beautiful. Just a beautiful album. There's really nothing more to say. The storytelling is so poignant and really well done. Absolutely love it. Moving on to our runner-ups.
I'm going to have to listen to that one. We might have to play it in the car.
Yeah.
My runner-up for the first half of the year is OK Human by Weezer. And as I mentioned in my last Spankin' Platters video, I feel this album edges out their more recent release, Van Weezer, in terms of lyrics. And I still find a lot to appreciate in this album. Numbers is a commentary on our pointless attempt to quantify the things about ourselves. Screens reminds us of how we're spending way too much time staring at our phones and tablets. Here Comes the Rain is a personal favorite of mine just because I can relate to the lyrics about appreciating the rain. I'm from the Northwest, so you kind of have to. So yeah, even though Van Weezer has the catchier instrumentals, and I'm usually more fond of melodies than lyrics, this one was kind of a surprise to me. The opposite is true with Weezer when it comes to their output this year. So yeah, really enjoyed OK Human. I wonder if they'll put out a third album this year before for us to look at. So yeah, how about your runner-up?
I will say, which we've talked about this, I much prefer Van Weezer over OK Human. But there are some catchy songs on OK Human. I can't help it. Alugo V is very catchy. I've been humming it just about the whole time Tom's been here because we talked about it like the first night he was here, and it's still stuck in my head. So, and of course you hear Tucker, but like it wouldn't be a video if Tucker wasn't here chewing on something. So my second place is Beach Bunny's EP. I believe it's Blame Game is the name. 4 songs, but man, do those 4 songs do a lot. Talking about male entitlement and just a sexualization of women, and it's a lot. It's a very catchy 4 songs. Each track stands out, but there is definitely that big central theme of male fantasy and male entitlement. And I think that that's really excellent, especially because it's a pop punk band, indie rock pop punk, kind of is somewhere in between. And not a heavily female-dominated genre. I mean, to be fair, most of our popular genres aren't very female-dominated. But for having a female front woman that touches on these topics, I think it is exceptionally powerful in genres that women are more or less excluded. Because this gives a chance to. I mean, not only is she just talking about female. How men are constantly sexualizing them, but also especially in a genre where they are sexualized and that's why they're taken less seriously. They're not as serious musicians because they're fronted by a woman. These are things that I've heard about numerous artists taking that narrative and making it their own, and playing with that on this EP was really great work. Something I really enjoy. They will be playing at Shadow of the City Bleachers Festival, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing this EP live. Down to our final pick. And Tom, what is your number 1 so far this year?
Your list is full of stuff that I have not listened to that I need to check out. Okay, my number 1 for the first half of 2021 is Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land by Marina. I was taken off guard by this album. The social commentary in the lyrics, plus the totally delicious 80s vibe in the instrumentation. I mean, it makes this the best female pop album, in my opinion, since Lady Gaga's Chromatica and Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia. The album tackles misogyny. I think that might have been the word you were trying to think of a minute ago. With the song Man's World, and the environment with the song Purge the Poison, our country's shady past and misguided present with the song New America, not to mention perhaps my favorite song of the year overall, by anyone so far. Highly Emotional People. I just love that song more than I can describe. Which and that song addresses our need for emotional and psychological self-care. So it's just a lot of social and political and other sorts of commentary going on. It closes with 4 love songs, but those songs kind of pale in comparison to, at least with the subject matter of the rest of the album. So I just absolutely love this album. It's almost flawless. And to think I almost dumped Marina altogether before this album came out. It's just fantastic. So
yeah, that's surprising to me because I know that you were kind of moving on from her. So that's very interesting. And I will go on, and I also have a female pop album. I know a lot of people I know this album has received a lot of praise as well as a lot of criticism.
I think I know what's coming.
I ignore it, and because it's great. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. It is by far my favorite album of the year. No question. I absolutely love it, and I get a lot of the complaints. I understand that a lot of it is slower. That's something that I thought when I was first listening. It did have a lot of slower songs, and I thought, I wish a little more of a hit the peaks of Good For You. But upon listening to it multiple times, it doesn't bother me like I thought it would. And ultimately, the songwriting is so solid. Olivia Rodrigo's vocals are so powerful that I don't really ever come across that problem. I think the storytelling is gripping. And yes, the whole album is about a relationship. But to be fair, that's not really something that's that much of a negative. Plenty of songs are about, plenty of albums basically always feature on relationships. I don't view that as a problem. And she takes she has unique perspectives on it. Not only that, but she obviously is a strong voice for younger generations, and I have actually written a series of articles for my local newspaper, and which I did happily call her the voice of this generation, because I think that her, along with Billie Eilish, really do echo a lot of the not only problems, but just struggles that the younger generation does face. And though I am older than both of them, I do view myself in that generation. And I think that Olivia Rodrigo Sour is absolutely beautiful. Great pop craftsmanship. Songs like Good For You, of course, are excellent. But I stand by songs like One Step Forward, Three Steps Back, Deja Vu, and Happier. Those are all some of my favorite songs on the album. And I think that Olivia Rodrigo really did an excellent job on the album. I think that I get some of the complaints that people may have, but ultimately I think that she avoids them and creates really excellently, tightly written pop tracks. And I think that is something that she deserves the praise for. So yes, my number 1 pick is Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. With that, we can wrap up the video. Like I said, make sure you go check out Tom's video over on his channel that we did.
It'll be posted, if not posted by the time you see this video, it'll be shortly thereafter.
But you might as well go subscribe. You don't want to miss any future uploads. So, whereas for me, I don't post anything. So, so go check out Tom's video. And thank you, Tom, for joining us. And thank you for flying down here to visit.
Oh, my pleasure. I have been having the time of my life with this guy and with Alyssa and with Tucker.
Of course. Yeah, I can't forget Tucker. He doesn't let you forget him in the video, that's for sure. Yes, it's been an absolute blast, and we are having a great time. But yes, thank you guys for watching, of course. It always means a lot, and make sure if you want to subscribe, but who knows if I'll ever post anything. Ultimately, like I said, thank you guys for watching. It really does mean a lot, and I will see you guys later.